in studio once again, talking a little more sports here with the lovely Josh Ryan.
Lovely this time.
Yeah, new word every time. Just so many different ways to describe you, man. Well, we're gonna kick it off a little bit here with football, which, they'll be kicking it off on Saturday night as both high school teams here are hosting their provincial semifinal matchups. Josh, give us a little rundown about, what we can expect to see out of, the two games this upcoming weekend.
Well, what we're hoping certainly to see, and I think most fans certainly expect to see, is a pretty dominant performance in both games. These are lower-ranked teams on the Tier 3 and Tier 2 level. Sylvan Lake is a team that Holy Rosary has played before and beaten fairly handily. Paul Kane, I can't remember off the top of my head if Lloyd Comp played them this year. They have played them in the past and haven't had a lot of trouble playing against them. There's a couple of other Tier 2 teams they're certainly more scared of. That being said, it's this time of the year, anything can happen in a one-game sample. The main thing on the Holy Rosary side will be to remain error-free as they have been for much of the season. And then on the side with the Barons, it's simply getting your offense going. I really do think that this team, more than a lot of other football teams, while they have a great defense, and that's still key to victory, if they can get their running game going and their receivers going with Anton Amandroud at quarterback, that makes a big difference. For
sure, and in their only game where they did play, a Metro League team from Edmonton was against the Salisbury Sabres, who are rated number 2 in Alberta for Tier 1 high schools. So, to maybe take a step down from that Salisbury Sabres team and be playing another different Edmonton team, maybe they'll have more luck this time. Like you said, try and get that running game going and try and get those receivers for the electric Amandrew to really take over and push his team's offense through there. And then for the Raiders, like you said, they want to stay error-free, but one of their big things is they force a lot of errors. Mm-hmm. Dylan, rather than head coach Vince Oreo,
right.
He causes a lot of turnovers, whether it's interceptions, fumbles, fumble recoveries. So expect him to keep that going. There were very few games throughout this season that he didn't cause a turnover. So look for him to be explosive in that matchup there.
Certainly. What would a Vince Oreo-led team be without explosive on the defensive end? Another thing to remember, too, is the fact that they are coming off bye weeks, which not every football school has that luxury. The downside, of course, is you could lose a little bit of sharpness in terms of the repetition and chemistry of the guys. That is basically where practice comes in, making sure your habits are still strong. But at the same time, that means they should be well rested, which probably does bode well for them. If we can switch to pro topics for a second, as you are, I'm sure, a native of the Edmonton area, do you believe that this current pace that the Oilers are on is going to be maintained, or can you chalk up much of it to the fact that you have 2 all-world players playing like all-world players and you have a hot goalie?
Yeah, it's tough to say, as a fan of the game, I really want to say, yeah, they'll keep going, they got this. But I'm not sure about the depth still. I know that's something that they tried to address over the offseason, but just putting in some of those younger pieces like Ethan Bear per se, I don't know how long they can keep up at this NHL caliber. And then another thing I'm not quite sure about, can James Neal really keep his pace going? I know he had the 4-goal game the one time, and as a Flames fan, you must be shaking your head over that. But I just can't see him keeping up that pace, as well as a few others. Obviously McDavid, Draisaitl, they can keep the ball rolling, but it'll be more of a back end, a bottom 6 forward kind of thing, in my opinion.
He will outscore Milan Lucic this season. That is known. That's all you should expect from James Neal moving forward. And also the side of that is Mike Smith. While he has played very well this season, he's still a somewhat inconsistent goaltender in the regular season, and that's something to be aware of as you head into some of the tougher stretches. They've had some good stretches of schedule. A few other tougher stretches will be a little more difficult. I have to ask you one more question, which is Matthew Tkachuk goal of the year? It has to be.
It
has to be.
One of the most beautiful things. Actually, when I first watched that goal, I didn't know his stick went between his legs.
Yeah.
From that far away on a goalie like Pekka Rinne, it's got to at least be in the discussion. The only other one I can possibly think of is the Svechnikov little lacrosse goal, but
definitely not.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, in between the legs from the hashtags or the hash marks, I don't know how you can top that. If something does top that, that's quite the NHL season.
I guess only time will tell if that will be the goal of the year.